What? Yes. Boo, 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 boo,
This
boo.
is episode number 460 of WPwatercooler from Wish to Commit, the WordPress 6.4 wish list.
Oh yeah, we should put a star. Oh, I'm first. I'm Say Reed at Say Reed Media on all the things. Twitter for life. X never.
And y'all know who it is. It's your boy Jason Cosper, aka the Substitute Teacher, back at it again on the world's most influential WordPress podcast. And speaking of podcasts, please go follow us over on Apple Podcasts, Audible, Spotify, I guess, and hang out with us over in the Discord.
I feel like I should crumple up a piece of paper and throw it at you. Hold on.
Things are a little loosey-goosey today. We have a friend with us as well. Jason Tucker is off on assignment. Say is throwing spit wads, and
like a good 80s movie.
We've got our friend Nye with us. Nye, how about you go ahead and take a second and introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Nyasha. Everybody calls me Nye, and I am a WordPress developer. That's my title right now because I'm looking for work. So if you're hiring, I'm looking for work.
You're also the interim marketing. This titles are ridiculous. Interim marketing team co-rep on the Make WordPress marketing team.
Yeah, so I contribute to open source, to our project, to WordPress, to marketing. So you can catch me there as well.
All right.
Very awesome.
And she's not in Britney Spears' living room.
I'm not. I wish. I'm channeling my inner
I keep tripping out on. I feel like you should be doing some dancing.
Yeah. I'm so tired. I'm too tired.
All right. So speaking of dancing, wait. I was gonna say, because I mentioned Britney Spears, so I was like, I'm like a genie in a bottle, baby. But that's Christina Aguilera. Oh man.
This will be the Milli Vanilli incident all over again.
Yeah, Milli Vanilli versus
it's fine.
Extreme. I got them Extreme. This time. They need their own.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Definitely the same kind of band, Extreme and Milli Vanilli.
Also, Britney Spears and Christina Aguilera. But right. Anyway,
well, that's a lot closer.
We digress. Today, speaking of genies and bottles, whomever wrote them, we are talking about from wishes to fishes. I was trying to make some sort of pun with kisses, like KSSES, but I thought that was like a little too. I was like wishes and kisses, but no. But someday I'm going to make a pun for that. But today it's about from wish list to commit. So let's to look at what we're going to be putting out there in 6.4, because Nye over here and I are both on the 6.4. What are we called? Release squad.
Yeah, the release.
Which always makes me think about Taylor Swift. So today's show is brought to you by White Women.
Hey, Swizz. Yeah. So Josepha, just a few, a little over a week ago, prompted over on the Make WordPress blog, asking effectively like, hey, what's on your wish list for WordPress 6.4? And we were looking for topics to do while Tucker was indisposed, and we thought, you know what?
He has no dreams for 6.4.
No. He has.
He's like, I don't even care.
Right. Yeah. He's just kind of like, yeah, whatever. Like, well, they'll figure it out without me.
Put whatever they put in there, and it will make sense or it won't.
Right.
It must be nice to be so practical.
Absolutely.
Sounds like it feels really calming. We miss you, Tucker. All right.
We do.
We do. Always.
So yeah, Josepha kind of asked the community, and she's gotten a fair. I'm scrolling pretty fast, but
I like that you said she kind of asked the community, which I think is really funny because all of these wish lists, they all have the there is a bit of an asterisk on this one actually, but they all have kind of the addendum that like everything has to be approved by the release lead. And so, we can all wish upon a star, but we also need our fairy godparents to approve them and to grant our wishes, which incidentally is not unlike in the actual core track, which has blessed tasks. Have you experienced this, either of you? Have we talked about this on the show?
I've seen blessed tasks. I've seen these sort of like, go forth and do this sort of.
It's literally called blessed, like the tag so something gets in as a feature, right? We'll have a track ticket, and then when that track ticket has been approved to be part of a release, it's been blessed. There's
I'm Southern, so I thought those were like people saying, "All right, have a good day." Like people are. Well, now I feel really stupid. I'm like, what? You're like the blood. I'm like the ones where they're wishing you a good day. Are you talking about?
I can't imagine that it translates to other languages well either.
Here we go.
Let alone just other like regions of the United States.
At least it's not the Southern blessing of, oh, bless your heart. Because that's the dismissive sort of blessing.
So there's blessed tasks and there's bless your heart tasks.
There's like the warning, like don't even look at these. I'm like, oh
yeah. Oh boy. There are probably, actually we should use those to rank these ideas that we see on here. We'd be like, is that a blessed task or a bless your heart task?
Oh, let's do it. Let's do it.
It's our own, like, like, are they or aren't they, but blessed or bless your heart. Oh my gosh, that's hilarious. We should actually do that. I think that the connotations of that particular term have been in discussion, have been mentioned occasionally, sporadically throughout, but it does have a weird connotation.
It does.
So it does kind of feel like fairy godparents are like blessing your wish list, right? Like,
yeah, for sure.
It's a little bit of that. Anyway, also apparently this one, which we were trying to figure out slightly before the show, which both Nye and I don't know the answer to, because even though we're on the cohort, but we apparently it's a shorter time frame, but I'm not sure why it's a shorter time frame. Is it just like the third release is like shorter because of like the holiday season? I don't actually know the answer to that, but apparently we have less time than other releases.
Traditionally, the release, that third release of the year, has historically, at least up until I think it was last year, gone out in like the December timeframe, but a lot of people groused about that because of the various holidays, the New Year, stuff like that.
Right.
And I know that there are
a lot of don't push production on a Friday.
Right. A lot of web hosts, back when I was working over at WP Engine, that December release, they wouldn't push, and I think they still don't. They won't push that new release out to customers until after the new year. And that was kind of a bone of contention a little bit, where you had people from the project going, hey, WP Engine, go ahead and push it out. Like, it's been getting tested and everything else. But I mean, you have hosts like that where people are paying more because they're earning money from their websites. And the last thing you want to do while you're making money is pull that down. So I think doing the release earlier in the year is good. I think it sucks that the women and non-binary led release is getting stuffed into the shortest time frame. I think that that y'all and your cohort are just getting robbed.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking. I think I found the timeline here. I did find the timeline. So it's now, and beta 1. So trunk begins in July, which is literally now.
Right.
And it's launched. Beta 1 is September 26th. And then 6.4 is set to release on November 7th.
Yeah.
which is interesting, especially because WordCamp US is so early this year. So,
right.
also interesting is that WordCamp US ends on that, Saturday night, right? So it's like it doesn't have a Sunday contributor day. That Sunday contributor day is at the beginning instead of the end, which all sorts of thoughts about. But Burning Man starts on the 27th. I'm just saying. Not saying why or anything. I'm just saying that Burning Man starts on August 27th, the day after WordCamp US. So possibly that's why there's no events on Sunday.
Sure.
That's good.
Some people like going to Burning Man who have a lot of say.
Some people,
some specific people.
right.
I have nothing against Burning Man, for the record.
I have nothing against it either. I just have a lot in the 4 column under showers. So
Oh my God.
that's just me. So let's kind of get into
that's the answer to the question, by the way. That's the timeline.
Right.
So it is a shorter timeline. It's a whole month shorter.
It is.
Okay, I just want to segue real quick from that before we start getting even closer into our actual wish list. That in addition to this shorter timeline for the women and non-binary release, there has been a lot of conversation, and there is some conversation in this wish list comment in the comments of this wish list post that are saying, oh, well, bug fix releases are really great. So why don't you just focus on bug fixes? And I'm like, so
sexist.
I agree that bug fix releases are really great. I'm just thinking, maybe if we're doing a specific women and non-binary release in order to achieve parity within some groups of people, this is gender parity, I suppose, that we're talking about here, then perhaps we wouldn't want to suggest that they should be limited to doing bug fixes. That's all I'm saying.
The reason I'll say it again out loud. That's sexist. You're asking the women and non-binary members of the community to come in and clean up.
You really are. That's literally
what the.
I need everyone who's listening to this on a podcast to go and watch the live stream, because Nye's face when we're talking about all of this is literally priceless.
I can't hide my facial expression.
Yeah, your facial expressions are the best. You shouldn't hide them. Be open, please. But you're not saying anything, so they can't hear you, but your face is speaking volumes.
That's the best. That's all I can do sometimes. I can speak, but
right? Like what? Just like bless their hearts.
Bless them.
Bless their hearts. So I think this does dovetail. If you want things to be a little more aggressive, like kind of have a way. Yeah, have a.
I'm like, let's do a lot of stuff.
Have a way to kind of put your stamp on these this 6.4 release. Like, are there things that either of you Nye, is there anything that you would like to
first. I'm gonna mute myself.
Yeah, is there anything you'd like to see in a new release, something that kind of has been maybe in the background and people are talking about that's exciting you, or anything like that?
I saw a really, 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 really good idea. I don't even know how to describe it. It would just make me happy and my life easier. Is if they really did CSS, like custom CSS on the pages and posts.
Good God, please. Can we?
Yeah, I'm like, I need that
CSS panel back.
I need it so bad.
The additional CSS panel from the customizer. Like I relied on it, and let me tell you, what good is putting in CSS classes if you have to go in? Like, where is the style sheet is not editable, right?
Yeah.
Like from the thing. So so if I'm putting in a CSS class, that means I have to go into a back end somewhere and edit the style file.
Yeah. So what was the point of that? Because I can go.
What is the point of that? Exactly.
Like,
exactly.
Bring it back. We want it back. Bring it back.
Think that's a great idea, and I will championing that with you. I will. Awesome. There has been some CSS conversation. I don't know where that landed, There has been we should also research that and talk about it, because CSS is so powerful now also, like, and it is so much lighter weight than JavaScript, and you can do so much with it. We should, and we were talking earlier about like being a millennial or Gen X or whatever, but MySpace really, that was CSS. That was like that really gives people a power that is different than an options panel.
Right.
It opens up literally the entirety of like the CSS universe, which is big. And the options panel doesn't even have freaking padding. And that's mine. Padding. All you care about is margins, and all your margins should be is upper and lower. You don't even need side margins. I don't know why you would think that. Why would you need side margins? Anyway.
Wow.
Sorry. I have feelings.
Planting a flag. That's
no, I'm saying you do need side margins. I just built this contributor page that we've been talking about every so often, but I built it on Make with like literally just the most basic blocks, and I could not put like side margin depth onto like a column block. I'm like, I'm gonna like murder someone in here.
So and did you have to?
It doesn't matter if I add a CSS class, because what am I going to do with that? Nothing. I'm just going to. I was like, should I just go find some other CSS class that has the right margins and randomly assign that to this block? That was I'm going to do that. I didn't do that, but anyway.
I was going to say the workaround, the clearly perfectly logical workaround to this for me would be to add some nested blocks and then have a column on each side. And
how about just some spacers? I could put some spacers inside empty columns, because it's talking about MySpace and CSS. Like it's literally, I'm gonna put in my little pixel.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, Courtney, everybody. All right. Okay.
Courtney, our friend Courtney chiming in from what did you say? The water park say?
I think she's at a water park. Yeah. What are you doing?
Yeah.
Oh, lucky.
She's in the lazy river right now, watching the show, hanging out with us, and we appreciate
it's me that I'm in a classic theme on the block editor. Look. You know what? A lot of people are trying to use the block editor in a non-block theme. So I'm just saying, this is not a and also where are the styles in the theme? Are the styles in the core? Like I don't know what we're doing anymore. Like I think we've lost our way a little bit. I'm sorry. I'm about CSS specifically. Sorry, Nye. I took your issue and ran with it there.
And that's okay. It's Friday.
And I had strong feelings about CSS recently. What else do you have? I'll put myself on mute again. Hold on. Okay, go.
Yeah. Any other things that you're interested in or excited about now?
No, that was my pain point, because like Say said, there are a lot of people trying to do blocks in like non-block themes, like Understrap. At my last company, we owned Understrap, and I was in the Understrap course. So people recognize me and they will stop me on the street. They did that at Work Cap Asia, and they'll say, "Hey, when is Understrap going to update to work with blocks?" And I'm like, ah. So yeah, that's my one. What about you?
We can have you on next week too for the Block and Awesome discussion about that. Aren't we talking about that next week? We're talking about converting on DevBranch, converting classic themes to block themes. So it's like we planned this or something. It's amazing.
Right. We had to normally we wing it, and like Thursday night Tucker is like, please, I need you to give me a subject for the week so I can generate the intro videos. He's very polite. He's much more polite with us than he really ought to be. And he's going to be AFK for the next 2 weeks. And I said, you know what? I think I can run the show. I know how to push buttons.
We can do it.
Yeah, we can plan. So yeah, we're talking next week. Little teaser. We're having our pal hosts. We're bringing them out of the chat and into the episode, and people really do win on MTV. They can make it. people really do win on MTV. You can make it up to the big time.
Hey, I was on MTV once.
Okay. Well, we'll talk about that in the post show.
No, it's important news. I just want everyone to know that and go try to figure out when and how. Okay, bye.
Is it up on YouTube?
I don't think so. It was a long time ago, in the Animaniacs era. Okay.
You're giving us ways to narrow it down and go through the like internet archive to find out.
Tell us what's on your wish list, Casper, because I know it's going to be something performance related.
You might be right.
Should I like write it down on a Post-it and fold it up and then like see if I could guess? No, anyway.
Yeah, well, so it sprung a little bit out of the performance team and the performance lab plugin, and we'll pull it up. But I am only sharing this tab. There we go. Tucker makes this look so easy. So we have Ari talking about the SQLite project. This is if you if you played around with the WordPress playground, which actually allows you to run a copy of WordPress in your browser, you are kind of benefiting from the SQLite.
Is that real quick? Is that's what all of like it's the Insta WP, Spin Up WP, right? That's all the same thing, yeah.
Okay. Well, no. SpinUp WP is like a managed host. Insta WP does do MySQL. They just provision it very quickly. What SQLite does specifically is it takes away like a MySQL database dependency. So you could effectively just host your site on something that can run PHP. You don't need to worry about spinning up a database and putting the database information in. And I know with like managed hosts,
this isn't dev branch, so we're not supposed to get like wild geeky, but where does the data come from if you don't have a database?
It's a flat file, SQLite, effectively like a flat file database for kind of small sites. It performs very quickly, but when you take
minified CSS,
no. It's just basically a different way of running a database where the database is all coming from.
You add dynamic data to a flat file. That's a thing.
Correct.
Oh, we're gonna have to do a show, a dev branch on this, so I can ask geeky questions.
Yeah,
without focusing on it deep diving on it too much today.
Right, but I am very excited about this because WordPress can something that I always advocate for. We can start to get a little weird with WordPress. We can take WordPress and say host it on a very lightweight, something that just runs PHP instead of having to run PHP and a MySQL server, whatever else. Just effectively
of that. Like take a Raspberry Pi device or something.
A Raspberry Pi device, something. There are a lot of places out there like that sort of compute at the edge, like fly.io and Heroku has been used for stuff like this, but effectively a way to run PHP like on these little like kind of more localized containers. So it lets people like run WordPress with like lower resource usage. So even say somebody in India or their basement in Des Moines wants to run their WordPress site. They want to fully self-host it where it's running on a Raspberry Pi or an old Android phone, like on their desktop. Like they can do that. Like we have that thing that we were talking about the other day. What was that that notes app that is effectively just the block editor, the WordPress playground inside of like an iOS app? Like it's just kind of,
that was what's one of the automaticians, I can't remember her name at the moment.
So it's very it just is going to kind of upend the idea of WordPress needing it already didn't need a complex stack, but it's like stripping that stuff away even further. That is just so exciting to me.
Do you think
And
this will be in some form in 6.4?
I maybe, possibly, hopefully, potentially.
Are you going to write it up on the wish list?
Yes, absolutely. And
Otherwise, it's not
the
gonna.
proposal that Ari made in the Make WordPress Core blog, like it has a pretty fair amount of like, hey, let's quit making this a feature plugin. Let's include it in WordPress Core.
Could it run simultaneously? Like it can be there with also the regular one?
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. So that in theory you could add it in so that it's an option and it doesn't upset anything. It just adds functionality.
You can, yeah. And one of the ways that it's being proposed is if it doesn't detect like a MySQL server running at all, or there's no prompt, like it could have essentially, like WordPress could just default to using SQLite and just kind of run. You're right, we're getting way too dev branch on this, so I'm gonna dive into
effectively to dev branch. Sorry.
Yeah, we'll wait until we get to dev branch on that. But speaking of, the other one that I'm really excited about is something that Courtney is always just on the side in
When I wrote
the
down.
WordPress Slack. Yeah. Okay, so you already know where I'm going. Post formats.
Boom. Call back.
Yeah, when I'm not young release candidate or fat Mullenweg, I'm post formats Malone. And I really think that post formats is like a missed opportunity. So this proposal to bring post formats into block themes, to bring that to a place where we can start to use post formats.
Isn't it block formats at this point though?
Sure, it could.
Like,
I guess it could be considered.
It's like a block format per, like if you select a type of post, then the block would have a different structure. Yeah. Essentially. I mean, I haven't specifically read this request.
Yeah, I mean the proposed solution, and I think some people have weighed in, both Tucker and myself, the second I texted our little group chat about this last night. Like Tucker's like, hey, are you gonna comment on that? Like, because I already commented on it. Like and yeah, I mean, I am just this is one of those things now that they have been pushing to move Tumblr, which was the inspiration for post formats, over to a WordPress stack. I don't see why including post formats, so you can have special post formats for like quote posts, for just like link blogs. Like there still is some janky plugin that hasn't received an update in like 10, 12 years.
Blog roll.
It's like a Daring Fireball style link list plugin or something like that is what it's called, based on
Fireball.
Daring Fireball. It's a like Apple related blog that he does a lot of posts that are just like links to other comment with like a little sentence or four of commentary on like the link that he's linking to. I used to run a link blog back in the day, and I really enjoyed doing that. It was kind of the way that I use or used Twitter and now Mastodon. Like I find something I think is cool, you know, I've got it in me to link to it and write a couple sentences about it and just move on with my day. I used to be a lot more active on my blog when I could do that. And I could hack that back in. I could do post formats and everything else, but having something that's like a native block implementation, please give it to me.
Okay, so we got to make that happen, but also there's one in this that I really think needs to happen, and I think the one of the release leads, or I don't know what they're called, I don't know, one of the leads, is a big proponent of it. It is being able to unselect categories when you bulk edit. Ooh.
Ooh, yes, please.
It just sounds like the most mundane thing in the world, but good golly, how much do we all want to do that?
Yeah.
All right, there's two more things I want to mention, and we're in overtime, even though we're just rambling. So, two things. One, there's a suite of plugins by Andy Fragan, friend of the show, and trauma surgeon, ER surgeon, Andy Fragan, who has been working on plugin dependency notifications for the both in the dashboard for people to be able to see plugin dependencies in their dashboard, and then also like, oh, you need this plugin for this, and then also one that sends failure and I guess I don't know what the word is, basically failure data from the plugins and from sites back to the repo or back to like WordPress for
so if there
analysis.
If there are failed updates,
yes,
that telemetry will effectively make it. Yeah.
Provide plugin and theme update failure data to .org. There we go.
Right.
So we know when that's happening.
I do know something that's coming out in 6.3. Andy has a plugin that something that's getting rolled into 6.3, which is rollbacks for like plugin and theme updates. So it effectively takes the plugins that you're updating, moves them to like a backup folder, and if the plug or theme update doesn't succeed, it just drops the old version of the plugin in place and says, hey, there was a problem, instead of basically like bricking your site,
right,
giving you a white screen, something like that. This is amazing, but it's right now what's coming in 6.3 is only
yes, please.
yeah. This is only for like manual updates that you yourself perform through the dashboard. The end goal, and I think that where they're pushing with this is to have this on like automatic updates.
4 is the auto update rollback.
Yeah.
So phase 3, and I linked to it so you can see it in show notes, the track. But phase 3 of the rollback thing is to roll back auto updates as well. So I mean, I think this makes
wonderful.
Just like, yes,
wonderful, bless. That's a bless. That's not a bless their hearts. That's a bless.
yeah, we didn't. We were ranking on bless. That's a
that's a blessed one.
Yeah, everyone's blessing. Andy, go. Yeah, I think that type of stuff that's been happening has been slow to happen, but when those happen, it makes it so that it really is auto updates. You know what I mean? It really is. You can put that on safely. You can like update your stuff safely. You don't have to like panic, and that makes it really able for the user to do their own stuff, because even now it's dangerous for the users to update their own things if they don't have other access to get to something if it breaks. And this really like just giving that ability to have that an auto update, and then the ability for it to auto fix it, which is possible since a lot of the managed hosts do it, if not all of the managed hosts. But I just think that's going to make everything so much better on the user end.
Yeah, I mean, Matt has said something. He said something that I thought was really interesting when he proposed it, but that effectively what he's pushing towards is he wants to make WordPress more like Chrome, And not necessarily, I'm sure in the world domination, like everyone runs WordPress thing, but also, and what he was saying was that you maybe in the future don't even know what version of WordPress you're running because you are on the latest version, because or plugins or whatever, because we have this auto updater that runs in the background. If there's a failure, it catches it and doesn't update that thing. I think we're getting to that future. It would be wild if in 5 years from now, we're just talking about the 25th birthday and we're like, oh man, like now like we're on WordPress whatever 7 point something or other, but like only the like hardcore people like the three of us know what the version number is. And I actually probably only the hardcore people like us are still only know what the version number
I was
is.
like, how's that different? Okay, there's one more I have to talk about. Well, there's two more.
Please.
Before we got to get through this because we're already in overtime. Okay. One, I'm just going to hit and run, and then we'll move to the next one. But icons block and icons and buttons. Seems not too complicated. No. I don't know. I want to kind of look into what's going on with the whole Dashicon thing, because like, shouldn't we just be using Font Awesome, or is there like some sort of open source icon thing that we should be dealing with? Because I feel like our icon game is really like,
yeah, and that's like, yeah, I'm with you. Sorry, I know we got to go, but I'm just with you.
No. We don't have to go.
It's not really clear either. Like, I'm getting into custom block building because I hate my life. I'm just kidding. I love it. And it's like, it's so like, first of all, I don't want to say that. Never mind. It's just not clear, and we need like better options. And they just we need better options. That's what I'm gonna say.
Say it. Come on.
That's
what we're
here for.
They suck.
They suck.
Share
the icons. There really are no icons. Like Dashicons are like are have been dead for a long time.
Yeah, like, it's so archaic looking.
I don't understand why I'm still using Dashicon. Like, I have to use Dashicons. When you go to the repo for Dashicons, it's like, this has been sunsetted for like years. Yeah. But I'm like, okay, great, but we're not using something else then? I'm a little confused on that. So maybe we'll at least, taking inspiration from Andy Friggins' multiple rollback phases, maybe, I don't know how easy it would be to like fix the icon or the Dashicons problem, but maybe that's something we could start laying some foundation for a changeover to something that is, at least do some of the back end research to see if we can move it forward a little bit.
At work, I always end up talking about kind of table setting. So like, instead of shipping this, project and like, here is this big thing. It's like, okay, let's set the table for this. Let's put out like what a lot of people refer to as like a minimum viable product. And then you just keep progressively enhancing it. But what you're doing
right here, it says iteration. You can't see it, but it says iteration over perfection. That's a slide from one of the first WordPress talks I ever watched. But we do not embrace this nearly enough. It's like we have to be done with stuff and push it out instead of the idea of, which Andy's rollbacks is doing, you know what I mean? But I think people lose patience in that, and they're just like, oh, it's now or never.
My background is blurred out. I've talked about it before, but I have this one over my shoulder here next to Strong Bad that says shitty and done is better than perfect and 3 months late. I would rather ship
on my wall, actually.
I would rather ship something that doesn't quite live up to expectations right out of the gate and progressively enhance it. I mean, basically you're trying to serve a meal. What do you do before you serve a meal? You set the table. Like, set the table, put the plates down, put all the dishes in place. So then when the meal is ready,
or if you want to extend it back even further to the cooking, it's mise en place, right? Like, you get all your ingredients together and you get your little, I always thought it was so great wherever you get your little bowl of spice over here and you get your thing and like it's ready, and then you assemble. But you have all your components ready and they're solid and ready to go. And if you're out of, such and such, you can figure out a substitute before you're halfway in. I feel like we just start cooking. That's what I feel like WordPress is. It's just like, oh, we're gonna make a thing. Let's just start cooking and tossing all the ingredients into there, and then we get halfway through it and we're like, oh, we don't have this. Do we need to go to the store? I don't know. We'll just put it on pause for the next 2 years. That's
right.
That's like kind of how I feel it happens.
It sort of makes me think of someone made me aware of I don't really look at Reddit anymore, but someone made me aware of a subreddit called something like I didn't have eggs or something like that, where it basically shows the wild ass things that people end up like putting into their food because they're like, oh, I didn't have this ingredient, so I just went ahead and used this. That's what sometimes the development process can feel like.
Yes, 100%.
I love that.
I didn't have eggs. If Twitter still existed, that would be my new favorite hashtag for like all these. This is an I didn't have eggs moment right here.
So
is what
sad.
this is. That, we've got a blessed task. We should have doesn't have eggs. No eggs for this. That should be one of the labels. Needs eggs. Okay, I have one last one that I would be absolutely remiss to not mention for a multitude of reasons. Not the least of which is because friend of the show, Scott Kingsley Clark, has been on this for a long time. But also, I'm a custom fields head. Like I live and breathe custom fields. I don't know how anyone builds a website without them. I don't know, like, I used to use them back when you had to make them yourself, like way back in the day, and you like make your own things and you're calling them whatever. But like, now I'm like pods, you got ACF, like I am custom fields reliant. And so thus I say custom fields API. What? Please. Good Lord, I shouldn't need so many third parties to connect a database to a database. I should not. There should be no reason that I cannot connect, like even just through Zapier, without like 3 different like webhook things. Like what are we talking about here? This is it. We need a direct API for custom fields. That's all I'm saying. It needs to be done.
I see you nodding in agreement there, Nadi. Do you have a feeling about this? Do you I mean you're kind of as you're building sites and everything, I'm sure that you've got to use custom fields.
Yeah, I use it like every day. I put on Twitter like a couple months ago, I'm naming my firstborn child. No, it was before WP Engine got them. I was like, I'm naming my firstborn child Cooper. That's a long story. Why their first name is Cooper. And that's gender neutral, so it will be girl Cooper too. ACF Green. So
Cooper ACF Green.
Yeah.
I am right there with you.
People are already calling my future unborn child ACF Green. So yes, I agree with Say. I don't see how people aren't using it either. And like, I don't know. Like I did an interview. They were like, "What's your favorite plugin?" I was like, "ACF." Like, what else is there?
How do you build a website without it?
Yeah,
like, I want to know. And especially now that it has post types, I'm just like, I switched so fast. Excuse me, I just cackled and made myself cough.
You're getting over a cold. It should be noted. So
I am, but I still did cackle about that because I switched off of my other post types plugins really quickly, and the Albert Charles Franklin, that's a good name. I think we talked about this briefly, but the conversion process from ACF post types or to ACF post types was like flawless and easy and simple, and I clicked the button and I was done, and I was like, I am never looking back. Even if it is owned by WP Engine, I don't care. Give me my custom post types. Give me my custom fields.
I mean, and
spot, and I'm just a happy camper.
If the Fields API, or when it eventually does, like shit, I'm pulling for that too. It won't really matter what plugin you use. You want to jump from ACF to pods, like you want to give that a try. I mean, I personally like I've used ACF on a ton of stuff. I've used pods elsewhere. Like I can be a little fluid in my allegiances there, but
sorry, Scott, about that.
Scott's been
Scott's
putting
friend
so
of the
much
show.
work. Scott's been putting so much work into custom fields for like so long
I know
that like and now having this work that he's been doing and has been like shepherding for like years and years, and he had to like put it on the back burner for a minute and everything else. It's one of those things where maybe it won't be fully baked by 6.4 because I know he's taken on a lot of stuff, but I mean 6.4, 6.5, whatever it takes,
let's set
please.
the table. Like, let's put in what we need to put in to get that process started. So, we started by talking about how this release should not just be about bug fixes, although I'm pro bug fix, but what would be cool if this, and maybe I'll even say this in the cohort, is if this release was an enabler. That's how I want to feel. Like, I want us to enable all of these dreams, even if we're not finishing, the project or whatever, but we're going to lay the groundwork and the foundation, knowing that more is coming and that we do not have to claim all of the finished glory for ourselves. There's an innuendo here that I'm thinking of, and I'm just not even going to never mind.
Well, I think we'll get Say through her coughing fit. Nye, thanks for hanging out with us today. I think that's a good thing to end on, though. So
Thank you
I'm
for
gonna hit
having
the
me.
outro button. Yeah. Thanks for coming on. Hopefully we can have you on again nice and soon. Good. Okay, Say is not coughing, so I am going to let her talk over the outro and the button I'm hitting.
Hey, if you listen to us on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, if you like that sort of thing. YouTube, I've heard it's okay. Apparently we stream to Facebook. We stream on LinkedIn. And what you really want to do is come chat with us in our Discord, because that's where we're at. That's where it's at. Come chat. That's where it's at.
Bye.
Tables and a microphone.